Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I was just brushing up on Player's Handbook. You know, good leisure reading. And this is a stupid bit. Okay. Me and my roommates started a homebrew D&D campaign this week, and this is how it went. Our story begins on a chill autumn path in the forest. 5 adventurers are traveling to town. Shin, a solemn samurai-type figure, followed uncomfortably behind by his comrade, Bathwata, a water genasi. I mean, they're uncomfortably close, like, right there. I cannot stress how awkward that roleplay interaction was. Behind them, a dwarf cleric of Moradin follows. His name is Tittybits O'Connor, and he is tired of the church's BS. Bringing up the rear on the path is a dark and brooding rogue named Delwy Goodstand. Well, at least he seems dark and brooding. We'll get to that later. Up in the trees, spinning and flipping away like Naruto, is a Triton rogue named Sarbnatroff, and he is just having the time of his life. Our party approaches a solitary noodle salesman and his son. They are selling ramen at a stand in the middle of the forest. The salesman, whose name is Chestnut, starts to talk to the players, sells them some homemade ramen, his grandmother's recipe, while his little boy Billy frolics in the field nearby. Delwy, wanting to be friendly with the boy, walks over and shows him his raven, and in a voice that I don't dare repeat on here.
Hello!
Yes, that voice.
Except it was a tad bit louder.
Hello! Needless to say, the boy was frightened by Delwy's demeanor, which is apparently not that dark and brooding after all. And so he fled into the woods out of fear, although Chestnut didn't seem to notice his son's disappearance right away. Shortly thereafter, they hear rustling in the forest, and the noodle salesman notices his son has gone missing. He asks the party to go and find him and bring him home safely in return for some gold. And so the party obliges, for literally the sole reason of their getting paid. They wouldn't have cared otherwise. So they go into the forest. They find the massive opening of a dark and deep cave, covered in cobwebs and spider tracks. Into the cave, there are 2 passages, one to the left, which is larger and has webs hanging from the ceiling, and another to the right, which is smaller, much dustier, as if it hasn't been used in quite some time. On their way in, they notice a trap has been set, woven out of the webs of giant spiders, it so seems. This is too complicated for any spider to have set up. The party then realizes they have stumbled into the lair of a family of ettercaps, giant spider shepherds who live within deep caves in the woods. With a newfound sense of urgency for the boys' situation, the party continues, and they find themselves in a massive chamber. With the little torchlight they have, they're able to make out it's a very large opening with a massive pit in the middle, and some kind of crane used for mining, which has been abandoned long ago. In the shadows, a giant spider appears and attacks the party. The party makes quick work doing damage to the spider, and it attempts to climb up the wall to flee and get a better vantage point on them. However, Bathwata, in a moment of triumph, turns to Shin and says, "I love you." And he throws a dagger, nailing the spider between the eyes, killing it instantly. But their victory was short-lived. The spider fell down, destroying the ledge which they were standing on, and Shin managed to jump and grab the cliff in order to support himself, but Bathwata fell down into the depths below, landing in a pit of cold, dank water. Hearing more spiders approaching from lower levels of the cave, the party ties together what rope they have, and they pull Bathwata out of the pit. They quickly make their way into a secret passage which Sarb has noticed behind some webs, an old small shrine to a dwarf god of mining. The party hides out in the shrine, discovering some old coins of an ancient dwarven kingdom, and they come together with a plan. Their only way out is blocked by a horde of spiders, but they've decided that they will use the statue in the room as a decoy. Sarb will be mounted on top of the statue while the rest of the party pushes it out. He will cast his fog cloud spell as a Triton and blind the spiders so that they'll think that the statue is just another party member, while he jumps off and gets an ambush on them. The party makes quick work of the two spiders and the Ettercap, which had trapped them in. They proceed deeper into the cave. They find their way down into a lower level of the cave, the spider's lair. There are a couple paths just like before, although these walkways are traveled very frequently. They decide to go the path which is much narrower so that the giant spiders cannot follow them. In there they find Billy being wrapped up by an Ettercap, alongside several other corpses of other adventurers who have gotten lost in here before. The Ettercap webbed Delwy to the wall, and before the party could make quick work of him, Tittybits, who was bringing up the rear, noticed a giant spider approaching from the back, who was about to attack him. After the party had finished with the Ettercap, they started on the giant spider behind them. The spider managed to web Shin and Sarb to the walls of the cave before they could do anything about it. Once again, Bathwater saves the day, destroying the spider and freeing his friends. The party then leaves the cave quickly as to not be attacked by more of the horde. They make their way back up to Chestnut at the noodle stand, and he gratefully gives them their cash reward, after which they make their way into town and take rest at the Red Lantern Tavern. And that is where the next session will begin. In this session, I had a few new players, a couple of people that have never played D&D before in their lives. And so I kind of knew that I would have to take things a little slower, but I wanted the game to be exciting and interesting without sacrificing their ability to kind of get on board with it. I knew they would have a lot of questions about the rules and how things work, and I knew I would have to kind of give them signals for how expectations of things. I knew they would have a lot of questions about the rules and how things work. I knew I kind of have to walk them through how the game's played. And I was right, they needed some help. And it's fine, that's a good thing. I enjoy helping new players with the game, it's fun. At the very beginning, it was kind of funny. Austin's character, Sarbnatroff, he wanted him to kind of flip through the trees and stuff. And I was like, that's cool. I like the narrative idea that this rogue is very up in the trees all over the place. But I kind of wanted to teach him that you can't just do whatever. You have to make checks in order to do things. So I had him make a very easy acrobatics check because I wanted him to do it, but I didn't want him to I wanted him to know, hey, for stuff that's requires abilities, you have to make a check for it. At first he was kind of frustrated. He was like, do I need to make a check for everything? I pull my dagger out of my belt. Do I need to make a check for that? And I could tell he was getting frustrated because he had just never played the game before. He didn't know what things you had to check for and what things you didn't. And so I was patient with him. I was like, hey, no, not for that. But because you were flipping through the trees, you had to make a check for that. If you wanted to lie to the shopkeeper, you have to make a check for that. But if you just want to talk to him, go right ahead, And so that was a bit of a learning curve at the beginning. But I think I think he once he got the hang of things, once he understood what the general expectations were, I think that really helped. It was really good that I had several experienced players in the game as well, that they kind of set the tone for what was to be expected. So Shin, the samurai, is played by my friend Gabe. He has played D&D before. He listens to Pathfinder podcasts, and so he knows how the game works. And that's why I had him go first in the introductions, like how Shin walks down the path solemnly, keeping his hand on his blade while watching for danger around them. That kind of sent a signal to our new players, like, oh, describe how your character enters. What are they doing? What is their demeanor? And I think that really worked out quite nicely. One of our new players, Jarrett, he played Bathwater. He had a really great session, lots of kills. He had been listening to the Adventure Zone, actually, before the game. So he kind of had an idea for it, and I think he really got into the role play and the personal element of his character really early on. So that was kind of cool to see him already kind of taking charge with that and using his imagination in that way. Overall, I would say the session was very successful. We had a little bit too much joking around for my taste, and it was fine. It was funny. We all enjoyed ourselves, and that was the main thing. Is I was like, okay, there's new players. I want them to like this game. We need to have fun while we're playing the game today. I don't want to be too much of a rules lawyer or a strict DM this time because, we're here to have fun, and I wanted them to kind of build a positive connection to it. So I kind of let loose a little bit with that. I didn't, rein in too much, but it definitely prevented some story from happening. And talking to the group after the fact, throughout the week, they definitely felt that too. They were like, yeah, we need to joke around less this game because we want to actually get more story done, which I thought was cool. I didn't expect them to embrace the story so quickly, so that was nice. Yeah, that's pretty much the main thing I learned from this one. The main takeaways from this session is You have to give plenty of opportunities for your players to do things and to enjoy the game, but you gotta know where the boundaries are. So I wanted Austin's character to do the flips. I thought it was cool, but I wanted to give him the opportunity to do that, but I also needed to show him that it's not just you tell the story and it happens, you know? Because that would ruin the fun of the game elsewhere. I wanted the players to make their way through the cave of spiders and to find the boy and save him because I wanted them to feel like heroes, but I needed to make it genuinely challenging for them to escape and to succeed so that they would be creative and they would actually sense tension in the game. That's something I struggle with, is being tough enough on my players to actually create genuine tension of danger. But yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. I'll be posting these Dungeon Master Diaries every time we play a game, about every week or so. Also, if you want to engage in my content in a more conversational way, follow me on Twitter, link in the description below. I hope you guys have a great evening and happy gaming.